Welcome back to Dan91's garage. This week we're going to send some oil into the turbo, get it returned to the sump, that way we can turn the key and test fire the engine with the brand new turbo kit I've made. Glad you're all with me, very excited, and I'll see you guys in a sec. So now we're ready to add the oil feed line. So I got the kit from Mamba. It's a universal kit obviously, and it has a whole bunch of adapters. Obviously the line itself is a 50cm AN4. It's got a 90° at one end and it's straight at the other. It's a pretty comprehensive kit. It comes with a bag of adapters for different turbos, so anything from M10 by 1 thread to M12 by 1.5 threads covered with all of these different ones you get. And the other side of it's obviously -4 AN to match the line. You also get a T-piece that is used to feed this whole thing from the oil pressure switch on the block. So it comes with that. Obviously I'm using a sandwich plate because I didn't like the position of it, but you know, as far as sort of comprehensive kits goes, this is pretty sorted. So that's that. It was the only one I could find with a 50cm line as well. I wanted 400mm or 500mm, and most of the kits are either 70 or 75 or maybe a meter's worth of line. So then we're going on, we've got a banjo bolt to go in the top with a banjo fitting, so it's obviously 10mm here for the banjo bolt, and obviously as we've covered 10 times, -4 AN for the line. And I got this again from Bofi Racing, TD04 banjo, specifically for the Maxpeedingrods TD04s, because they're an M10 by 1.25 thread, which I don't know if it's different to Subaru, but it's definitely 1.25 because I've checked it, and it has a 1.5mm restrictor in the end. Now, I know some people say that the restrictors are in the turbo and you don't need it and all this other stuff unless it's a ball bearing or whatever. Either way, this is the one apparently. So there we go, we'll give that a crack. So yeah, it's got a 1.5mm restrictor in it so it doesn't overfeed the turbo. So there we go, that's basically that. And the return line, again, had a bit of trouble getting hold of some of this. But basically, this is from Mocal. So I bought this from a well-trusted seller, and it's Mocal oil hose that they use for their oil filter relocators. And being as I'm needing to return hot oil back to the sump, nothing better than literally something that says oil hose on it by the people that make all of the oil transfer, relocating and cooling products that you'd care to mention. So the spec is 100 R6, and it's up to 135°C, 24 bar working pressure. If we ever get 24 bar in the crankcase, we're in a lot more trouble than this little hose is going to matter about. So there we go. So we're going to chop him off, obviously 16 ID or 5/8, which is as close as you can get. So we'll chop that up for the return. Just go have a look for some Jubilee clips, I guess. Sorted. So yeah, a couple of 18 to 24s, obviously it's 16 ID and it's about a 4mm wool, so that takes up to about 24, so they just drop over it nice. So we'll get them sorted, pop those on the engine. So I think we'll put the drain on first, so put a tiny bit of lube on that one just to help it go over. Okay, oil feed time, so we'll take off our little protective piece of tape that we had covering the turbo up. So banjo bolt with restrictor. So the first copper washer goes on top, and 10mm banjo fitting goes on there, and the last copper washer on the bottom. Something like that, I think. So we'll grab the end of the dashboard, pop him on there, hit that up. You obviously got to be careful of is when you tighten up the nuts on these, they want to twist sort of the end part of the fitting here, which then puts a twist in your line. So you sometimes have to sort of start tightening them too far twisted this way. So if I take the other end off, I can then move it over a bit and sort of tighten up in this position. So when it's finished tightening, it'll actually end up pointing at the fitting I want. So I'll give that a quick whirl. So I'm going to use 2 spanners on it. Obviously hold this fitting solid and then tighten the line onto it, because otherwise it may start to tighten this further into the sandwich plate. So I'll grab a couple of spanners. You won't be able to see much, but I'll grab a couple of spanners and we'll see when this is all nipped up. So this one's all nipped up now. You don't have to go nuts with them. You obviously just need to tighten it up so it's going to seal and not come off. So that's cool. And then we follow the line round. And then we come up and we 90 degree in here at this end to go into the stainless banjo. But I'm not going to tighten that up yet. What I want to do is I'm going to pull out the EFI fuse. So if we pop him off and then lay him down on the floor, I think. Pop over to the fuse box. And if we look at the sort of legend on the top of it, it says the 15 amp EFI fuse is in this row here, 15 amp, the one at the very end basically. Thankfully Toyota provide tweezers for it, so we'll clip that on there and we can pull him out. So that's the 15 amp EFI fuse out. So now when we turn the engine over on the key, it won't actually try and start. So this all looks vaguely safe, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll go spin the engine over. Obviously I want to build up some oil pressure before we try and start it. So you guys let me know down in the comments when you see oil coming out of the oil feed pipe for me, alright? Nothing yet. Okay then, let's keep going. Well, we've got oil pressure and we've clearly got oil being out of there. So oil pressure light has gone out. Oil is now coming out of the oil feed. I'm quite excited. So let's get this thing bolted on and then we can actually fire up the engine for the first time with the brand new turbo kit. Okay, so we'll pull him over that way a bit. So now we get to rearrange all of this shenanigans. And we've actually got to put this lower bolt in as we feed it in. Right. It's like the Crystal Maze, this. Jesus Christ. Right, so actuator on. Oh, I've been a bit of a clumsy today. I've already dropped one of the copper washers but managed to find that, so let's hopefully not fire this circlip across the workshop. There we go. Circlip's on, actuator is actuating. Both ends of the feed, the banjo and the returner tight. What I might actually do is just spin it over quickly without the fuse in, just to prime the turbo with oil a bit. Sorted. Cover goes back on. 300 years old, please don't explode. No, we're on there, that's good. And just for a bit of added safety, we'll put the hot pipe on, simply because otherwise the compressor outlet's going to be blowing down. It's going to blow up a bunch of dust. It'll probably get sucked in the inlet because I don't have a filter on it yet. So I don't mind telling you, I'm a little bit nervous about this. It's not like it's actually putting boost in the engine or anything, but there's a whole bunch of new stuff about to get tested all in one go, so it's going to be a bit of fun, I think. But well, there we go. Nothing left to it but to do it, I guess. Put that under there to catch anything that falls out of it, I guess. Right, well, I've double checked everything, so there goes nothing, I guess. So far. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun with the paint heating up on the manifold, but that's what it's for, so nothing else is touching. It will smoke a bit. Turbo still spinning. It's not exactly quiet, is it? No warning lights, that's a good start. Warm up a bit, let the fans come on again and keep checking for leaks. I mean, I'm over the moon with that. What more could you ask for? So she's fired up, the exhaust doesn't sound awful, it's a bit bloody loud. But yeah, no leaks, turbo's spooling, you can feel it blowing out air. So yeah, we'll call that one a win. We'll let her warm up, see you guys in a bit. So there we have it, first test run. It warmed up, the fan came on. So far there doesn't appear to be any oil leaks, which is an absolute bonus. The manifold's in one piece, the downpipe's in one piece, there's no oil leaks. It was a bit of a weird moment when I looked in there and I couldn't see the turbo spinning very quickly, and I thought, Jesus Christ, is it seized or something? Part of it is because it's a brand new turbo, it's got 0 miles on it, so it needs running in. The idle speed had got down to its usual sort of 700, 750, and it was barely sort of spinning the turbo. So I turned it off, and then once the engine was off, I sort of put my finger in the turbo and then span the compressor wheel by hand, and it spanned 2 or 3 revolutions before sort of slowly coming to a halt. And when I sort of play and turn it, it doesn't feel gritty or sticky or anything. So when I rev it, as soon as I touch the throttle, it spins up lovely. So that's cool. The exhaust, a bit louder than I thought. Was hoping it was, obviously this is no longer a sleeper, so I mean at the end of the day it's got a loud exhaust, and they're all hanging out the front, and it's going to have a dump valve on it, so it's not like anyone's going to mistake it for a car that isn't turboed. But I was hoping it's going to be a little bit quieter than that at idle or anything, but yeah, no, it is what it is. It is a straight through sort of exhaust system, so it's going to be loud anyway. The only thing that needs addressing is there was a small patch on the floor of water. I thought it was oil, but thankfully it wasn't far enough back to be oil. So it's just water that's come out of one of the joints in the exhaust. It's a center joint. It's not the cat that I welded in, so that's a bonus. So I either need to take it apart and clean it, or maybe I just tighten it up and see what happens. But yeah, as far as the first start goes, boys and girls, over the moon with that. So I'm going to go and have a cocktail and a sit down. So yeah, that's it for this week. Big milestone, super happy. Everything went pretty much as well as could be expected. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I couldn't do it without you. As always, guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next episode.